This is a video review of WarioWare DIY, and I made some collection videos earlier. You can check those out. That'd be nice. But I figured instead of revisiting my collections later, when I get more games, I should just review each game individually. Maybe go more in depth with these, since in the collection videos, I basically only spent a minute on each of them. So yeah, I figured this would be a good format. And in the future, I'll try to add some production value to these videos by adding, actual footage. But this is a DS game, and there really is no consumer level way of recording footage. I mean, other than maybe using an emulator. But otherwise, I can record just about anything else, except for maybe Virtual Boy or like Game Gear. I don't think I'll be reviewing any of Game Gear games though, so whatever. But yeah, this is WarioWare DIY. Obviously, the acronym stands for Do It Yourself, which kind of summarizes the game. I'll just give a little brief summary of what WarioWare is. Came out on the GBA originally in 2003, and I don't really know much about the development history. I know it's made by the R&D1 team, which has made a lot of great games in the past, things like Metroid, but it's kind of a vague statement these days. I don't really know who's behind it, but it's a really, really creative series. Like, it's a minigame collection, kind of analogous to, I guess you like Bop It. I think that's kind of like a 90s toy, maybe 80s, I don't really know. I definitely know it was in the 90s, but it's a series of mini games where it tells you to do a command for each one. Like, it'll usually summarize in one or two words what your objective is. And the mini games, well, they call micro games, but they last about 5 seconds, maybe a little more, depending on the game. But you don't have much time to finish them. And as you keep progressing, the speed ramps up and the difficulty ramps up for each themed level. And it basically is like a high score game to see how far you can get. And it's a really, really great series. It has a lot of really funny, quirky Japanese themes. And I'm not sure if this was originally supposed to be a Wario series. I mean, other than the fact that Wario is in the game, there really isn't much to do with that character. Like, Mario's not in it. Well, he's in some of the mini games, but in the overarching quote unquote storyline, like, Mario isn't in it, or any of Wario's any of his peers or whatever. They basically made a whole new cast of people. Like, there's this guy named Jimmy. He has like an afro. He's really over the top, and characters like that. And so a lot of really Japanese style just quirkiness to the mini games. Is really, really creative. And 2003 was actually a pretty good year for games. Wind Waker came out, Pokemon, Ruby and Sapphire, I believe, and Beyond Good and Evil, and Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, Soul Calibur 2. But I'd say WarioWare for the GBA might have been my game of the year. I don't want to confirm anything, but it's definitely up there. Just a great game and a great series. And WarioWare Touched, as I said in my DS review video, is my favorite game on the system. So anyway, let's get to this game specifically. We're already 4 minutes in. So yeah, it's about creating your own mini games. And I didn't get this game right away. I'll get into why a bit later. But the game is a really, really good tutorial and teaches you basically how to design games, and makes some pretty apt analogies in case you're like artistically inept, like me, I guess. But basically, the tutorial is done by through dialogue between Wario and this girl. I don't remember her name, but she's a daughter of one of the main characters. And Wario is basically acts as you. He's the guy who keeps asking questions like, what does this mean? And how does this work? And then the girl makes really good analogies, like for the AI, she kind of compares AI to scripts and acting, where each thing has a script, and whenever something's triggered, they're supposed to do something just like an actor would. And yeah, it just makes a lot of cool analogies like that. Definitely wouldn't recommend this to like anyone under 10. I think maybe this would go over their head, and they might not understand what they're supposed to do. But yeah, the tutorial is easy enough to grasp, and way better than Little Big Planet in that regard. Just in terms of teaching you the tools, and it's really easy to use. Basically, you create your own graphics, and if you're not really good at drawing, I'm definitely not. There are a lot of tools you can use for the backgrounds, and like basically pre-designed little objects that are already in the game, and you can use all the Nintendo assets like the question mark block and Mario and stuff like that. But yeah, the creation tool is really cool, and you can download other people's mini games online and share yours and such. And I think you can autonomously download games like without friend codes or anything like that. You can just download random ones. That's really cool. And they hold competitions like each week or so. Nintendo will holds like a theme, like winter theme, and then you can submit your winter themed ones, and then the best ones will be available to download on their featured section. So that's cool. And a really cool thing about the online sharing is that there's this section called big name mini games. I don't really know the name, but it actually features levels from developers, which was promised in Little Big Planet by Sony before the game came out, and that never happened. But this one actually does have developers making levels, like Sakurai, the guy behind Kirby and Smash Brothers, Sakamoto, the Metroid guy, the Super Meat Boy guy. Actually, that minigame is really bad, but it's cool that he made one. The World of Goo creator, the Shantae creator, Matt Bozon, I believe that's his name. And Yet It Moves, and a lot of games like, oh yeah, the Scribblenauts, one of the Scribblenauts guys, some Nintendo Power guys. I could go on. And I think there's a new one each week. They actually stopped for a month or two. I don't know why. Maybe just like the holiday season came. And I think they're doing it again, though, so that's cool. It's just interesting to see what the developers, how they create levels. Their art assets are their artistic ability is way superior to mine, so it's really interesting to play. But my one problem with this game is that there isn't much depth to this game when compared to WarioWare Touched, which was also on the DS, like I said. But in WarioWare Touched, you couldn't use buttons, but basically anything in the touchscreen goes. Like you could draw, drag objects, just tap anything, or even use the microphone. But in WarioWare DIY, the minigames, I guess because they didn't want everything to get too complicated or confusing, everything is just tapping based. So, for example, in WarioWare Touch, there are minigames where like you have to lead someone out of a maze by drawing their way out to the stylus, or maybe like tracing a Japanese letter character precisely using the stylus. You can't do that in this game, though. You can only tap things, and that's the only way it recognizes commands. So it doesn't have as much depth, no dragging or no drawing or anything like that. When you're actually playing the minigames, that is. So that's why I didn't get the game right away. Still fun, though. Not as great as Touch, though, in terms of actually playing. But the creation tool is really fun. I recommend it more if you have like friends and maybe you just draw a lot of levels, make a lot of mini games based on inside jokes or certain themes or whatever. Because in WarioWare, when you pick a level, each level has a certain theme. So For example, there's this character named 9 Volt, and if you pick his level, all the mini games are based on classic Nintendo properties. Or there's another character where if you pick him, all the mini games are maybe realistic. Like it'll use like kind of realistic graphics for each of the puzzles, and another level will have like drawing based levels and stuff like that. I don't know. It's pretty intuitive. Maybe I'm not doing the best job of explaining, but yeah, in this you can make your own levels too, where you can make if you like maybe tell your friends about to make mini games based on one theme, you can all share them, and then put them all in one blender, and that could be your level. Like if I told 5 friends to make football based mini games, then we could just make a football themed level, and then when you play that level, all the mini games of that theme can be played. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's definitely a really fun game, as I said. If you're thinking about just playing the games, I tracked down WarioWare Touched. You can't find that new these days, but I don't know. Maybe you can get it for like $15 these days. I think that's the going price for used. And if you really like creating and sharing, I definitely recommend this more if you have friends playing this, as I said. Otherwise, I don't know how much enjoyment you can get out of this. Definitely cool that you can download levels, though. That's a big plus. And there are some mini games prepackaged on the game. I guess they just threw those in just to say that, oh look, it's a full-fledged WarioWare game, but that's not the case. Those are just kind of throwaway games you don't really need to play. Yeah, that's about it. For WarioWare DIY. Oh yeah, I guess I should mention that there's a WiiWare standalone game. I think it's called WarioWare DIY Showcase. I don't have it yet since I don't feel like getting another points card. But from what I understand, you can basically transfer your DIY games to that and play them on your TV. And I don't really know much about it, but I think it has some exclusive games on there, and I think it's 800 points, which is $8 American dollars. I don't really know how much they cost elsewhere, but yeah, that's it for that. I'll probably download that sometime in the future if I feel like it. But yeah, that's about it for WarioWare DIY. Thanks for watching, and I'll try to update games, or I'll try to make more review videos when I finish playing games, which should be frequently. So yeah, that's it.